Hello again and welcome. This is one of my videos in which I respond to videos claiming to debunk the philosophy of antinatalism. So, if you're new here, hit subscribe and like for more if you are interested in such content. So, let's begin. I've stumbled to a video of this guy claiming that antinatalism is wrong for various different reasons. So, let's see what he says about that.
Antinatalism is an utterly selfish philosophy. It is actually built to fail. So in this video, I am going to
All right. But first of all, him saying that a selfish philosophy, like what do you mean? Selfish. Everything is selfish. Every action that we do is comes from a personal inclination. Okay, every action that we do, even altruism, like the definition of altruism is like whatever you want, any good that you want to yourself, you want it also for the other. Even that could be considered as selfish because every action comes from an intrinsic source for personal benefit. So I don't really, but uh, antinatalists take the pleasure of compassion from not bringing children to existence. Okay, pleasure can come from all different type of source. Pleasure can come from harming people as much as it can come from not harming people and subjecting them to unnecessary suffering. So antinatalists draw their pleasure and from being compassionate. Let's carry on.
debunk antinatalism step by step, and I am going to prove to you that antinatalism is selfish and illogical. So to begin with, I'm only going to talk about ethical antinatalists, antinatalists who are antinatalists for ethical reasons. I'm not going to talk about environmental antinatalists or child free. So to begin with, ethical antinatalists are people who don't give birth to children for ethical reasons, because if a child comes into this world, they are going to suffer. So suffering is inevitable in this world, and no parent can assure their child's safety.
Yep.
So why make a child from the scratch just to come into this world and pointlessly suffer, right? So this is their philosophy.
Okay.
So here is the first problem of antinatalism. So
Okay.
you people say that suffering is bad, so we don't want to create children who will suffer, who will come into this world pointlessly and suffer, right? So you are a human, and you can decide that, okay, let me not have a child, let me use a condom, right? You can decide that. But what about the animals? They are also
Stop right there. What aboutism? What aboutism? I know what he's gonna be doing here. He's gonna start claiming, okay, I don't have children for moral reasons. All right, I want to prevent suffering and all of that. But how about all of the other people and all of the other animals that keep doing it? All right. So me trying to prevent suffering is actually just a a tiny drop from a big sea of suffering. Like my personal effort wouldn't equal to nothing. Would equal to nothing actually. He's gonna commit the nirvana fallacy.
suffering here pointlessly, and they are also suffering.
Okay. He said that the first problem that it does not include all sufferers, animals, and I do agree. I've already made a video about that in which I discussed that antinatalists, if they if they take the principle of harm and preventing suffering, they should also uh, uh, put veganism into regard when they keep eating and eating meat and they keep encouraging more meat production and more suffer being done in factories and farms.
If your goal is reducing suffering, then you are doing a bad job at it.
No, 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 no. It's not just about reducing suffering for the one that does not exist. It's also for reducing suffering for the parent as well. Because if I see that my child is suffering, I perceive that he suffers, I will inevitably face some type of pain of conscience that I am the one that brought him to existence, that I'm the sole responsible agent of his suffering.
Because if your goal is reducing suffering, you have to add animals also.
You have to add animals also. I agree. But doesn't mean that antinatalism is actually flawed. Because the problem here, he is committing the nirvana fallacy. And what is the nirvana fallacy? The nirvana fallacy is basically rejecting a solution because it's not perfect. Okay? Rejecting a solution because it's not absolute and it's not ideal. And a solving mechanism, a perfect solving mechanism to a given problem.
Animals suffer the same as humans.
I would even agree that they can even suffer more than humans, especially if they are exploited in farms, factories, and such.
Animals are equal to humans. When I say
They do. They do. They are equal to humans, especially from an evolutionary perspective. Yeah.
animals are equal to humans, I'm not asking voting rights for animals. I'm saying their suffering is the same.
They
For
are.
the
He's very angry. He's very compassionate.
victims, it is the same. So here is where antinatalists become selfish. They are like, okay, let's save our own asses.
I've already talked about I've already talked about this saving. Of course, every species is actually prone to prioritize its own kind, its own species. This is absolute. But to call it selfish, if we want to call something selfish, it is either that we call every action selfish or we call nothing selfish. Because everything that we do comes from the self. Every action that we do prioritizes pleasure of the self. So it is either that we call everything selfish or we call nothing selfish because pleasure of every outcome of every action gets back to ourselves.
That is the most disgusting, most selfish, most pathetic thing you can do. Humans are the only species on earth that are capable of solving everyone's suffering.
No, 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 no. I agree. Like practically, I don't know. Practically, I don't know whether that is possible. But anyway, can does not imply ought. For example, I can definitely solve a problem for somebody, but it doesn't imply that I'm out to do it. It doesn't imply that I must do it. Some people do not care. Some people are not compassionate. Some people are not moral. Some people, matter of fact, want you to be in hardship. Just because I can doesn't mean that I should or that I must. If if you do that, you presume a standard of moral realism or moral objectivism that have no basis.
Including the animals. So we have a moral obligation to do so.
No,
If
we don't. I just said no. No. Moral obligation, where does it come from?
you say that, okay, let's just make all the humans extinct, let the animals stay here, let them experience starvation, natural disasters, let them pointlessly suffer here. Isn't that selfishness or what?
All right, I think because he is Indian, uh, there's uh, there's a wide vegan culture in India, especially because of Hinduism. But the problem is, this is the nirvana fallacy, as I told earlier. Just because, for example, if I perceive that stealing or killing is bad, okay, Should I also keep doing it? Because definitely there should always be more people to keep killing. No, I shouldn't stop killing. Why shouldn't I stop killing? Because more people are just gonna be killing. So I will add myself to them. No, it doesn't add up. If I perceive killing is wrong, I should not do it. And and people keeping doing it regardless of them perceiving it as being wrong doesn't give me any type of excuse of keeping doing it myself, because I have already given the value of being bad and be wrong. And whether I do it, I already contradict myself because I already perceive that it's bad.
So the only solution to suffering, if you are fighting against suffering, is to make every sentient being extinct. Every conscious living beings which can suffer, which have the capability to suffer, all of them should go extinct. So
Nirvana fallacy, man. If I was in a boat and there is people that are drowning next to me, and I know that I cannot save them all, should I say that the only possible solution to that is that I can save them all, or I won't save anyone? This is wrong. This is just wrong.
so if you are an antinatalist, then you are a fool. It's as simple as that. So what is your goal? Your goal is, fighting suffering, fighting against suffering, right? So reducing suffering. So if you say that, okay, I will reduce some suffering and not the others, then you are a fool. Every bad thing.
It's the same as I will save some people from drowning because I can't save everyone. So I shouldn't save three people or four people max because the boat cannot take them all. So I shouldn't be saving anyone because the boat cannot take them all. Because I can't save anyone, I shouldn't be saving any. This is bullshit. I'm sorry, but this is bullshit.
Thing in this world is bad because it causes suffering to someone. Every bad thing comes back to suffering. You cannot deny that. Otherwise, you name one thing that is bad, that doesn't have any suffering. Suffering is the only bad thing that exists in this world. And if you say that, okay, some suffering is bad and some
That's very Buddhist.
suffering can happen, I'll let it happen, then you are an evil piece of shit. Our end goal shouldn't be human extinction. We should try and help animals. That is our moral obligation. We are the only ones.
Yeah, well, as I stated, I agree with veganism because it takes the same principle as antinatalism, and I do not regard myself any superior from animals because of evolution and everything. We're basically the same, but nirvana fallacy, bro.
Who can. We have to understand the fact there is no others who animals can depend upon. So if you ask me, right, so if the whole world goes anti-natalist, the whole world, agrees to make only humans extinct, then us extinctionists, we will reproduce. We will continue.
If the whole world agrees to stop reproducing, then extinctionists will reproduce. But you are part of the whole world. If the whole agrees, it means the parts also agree. I don't really understand what he's trying to communicate over here.
The generations until animal extinction is caused. You have to understand that animals suffer.
Oh. He says we cannot prioritize our extinction over other species extinction. It is either everybody extincts and his suffering is done for and has ended, or no species at all. So he decides to stick around with his fellow people that agree with him to make other animals also extinct. Only then he can make himself and the others also extinct.
Suffer
But the problem is evolution would happen again. Not evolution, abiogenesis would happen again. Would happen again here or in somewhere else. You never know. You never know. Life could evolve again.
more by quantity and by severity. Animals are more by quantity and their suffering is worse. So let's
Yep.
come to the second problem with antinatalism. Antinatalism clings to the concept of consent, right? We want someone to get educated and go antinatalist voluntarily. That is never going to happen. Voluntary extinction will never happen. Even see, if you make you
People will never cease killing each other, so that gives me an excuse to kill anybody that I want. Oh my God.
have made abusing black people as illegal, right? But still that
Okay.
happens. So even if you make reproduction illegal, some morons are going to reproduce. Your
So so this gives us an excuse to do
movement already failed. Your goal is unachievable logically. It's as simple as that. Your goal is unachievable logically. It's
it. I haven't heard any logic.
as simple as that. Also, as I said,
Talking about logic commits the nirvana fallacy.
you have to include the animals, right? They are also suffering the same as us in this world.
I agree.
So, can you go to a monkey and, like, hi, be antinatalist? See, your children are suffering. Can you go to a dog and be like, hi, be an antinatalist? Don't give birth to puppies. These puppies, they are going to have skin diseases. They are going to suffer from accidents. You don't know. Don't do this. The dogs might bite you. They'll be scared. So you shouldn't cling to the concept of consent. So I have already made a video about consent and this topic. So the thing is that not everybody, animals or people, have the intellectual.
We can't get consent from our unborn children, so we have we can't bring them into existence. If we stick to morals, people don't stick to morals. They follow their personal pleasures, regardless of morality, whatever theory they are following. But anyway, animals don't have this capability of seeing far ahead into the future. They don't have the ability to consent to things themselves. But I really don't know what he is looking for a perfect solution for everything. Rather than that, we should just keep fucking around. It is either I save everyone, every drowning child, or I don't. Like for example, if I have a boat, but that boat only can take 10 drowning child, but there's 20 of them. Should I should I not take any because I can't take them all? Is the argument?
Capacity to understand that non-existence is better, the same as you have understood that okay, non-existence is better for children,
Yes, the
but not
symmetry says
everybody
the asymmetry.
can have that intellectual capacity. You cannot
Okay.
expect that. So
Yeah.
the third problem, so there are a bunch of antinatalists who claim as being sentiocentric antinatalists. So these antinatalists are, in fact, they are mostly extinctionist for the one part where their solution is not practical. So these sentiocentric antinatalists, they say that okay, every sentient being should go extinct. We agree that. So they say that okay, we need to sterilize these sentient beings, right? So understand one logic, right? So I agree with them. If you can sterilize all the beings, all sentient beings, up to a point where you can cause total extinction, then I am fine with it. Right? It should be done.
As I told you, he wants a perfect solution. Either a perfect solution or nothing.
But the thing is, it's not going to be possible.
But the problem is you can do this. You can do the same thing with laws. All right, you can go to a judge and say, "Hey, judge, I will be stealing." Okay, he would be saying, "Why would you steal?" And your response would be, "It is either everybody stops stealing or I won't." This is this is his argument. This is his argument. It is either everybody stop killing or I won't. Oh my god.
So sentient beings range from ants to blue whales. You cannot pick each and every ant, each and every mosquito up and sterilize them. That's not going to be possible. It's very simple logic. So the next thing, we should go for euthanizing, euthanasia. That is the only solution. So the thing is that
Euthanasia requires consent. Okay? Euthanasia is such a hot debated topic, to be honest. I'm for it, by the way. If we have an adult that wants to get assisted suicide, there's no problem with it. He is an adult. We have several cases of people that are going through tremendous amounts of pain who wants to just be done with it, but can't because euthanasia is illegal in their country.
some things that I want to clarify is that one thing I told about extinctionists will reproduce until animal extinction. I understand the fact that reproduction is wrong and it's evil. Definitely, it's unethical. But the thing is, life is not so black and white, right? So sometimes you have to cause some suffering in order to solve some greater suffering. If you don't understand this, you are basically a child. So second thing, it's unethical. But the thing is, life is not so black and white, right?
If you're talking about pleasure and pain, it is black and white. We're basically just beings who wake up at morning and try as much as we can to avoid suffering during our day and pursue as much as pleasure as we can. This is how we operate. This is what our brains, we are, dictate pleasure and pain. The purpose of life is avoidance of pain, which is a pleasure, and the pursuit of pleasure. Some say happiness, some say tranquility, some say contentment, meaning, achievement, but it's all just pleasure.
So sometimes you have to cause some suffering in order to solve some greater suffering.
It talks about utilitarianism, cause some suffering in order to reduce some greater suffering. Yeah, and that's pleasure. This isn't even a gray area between black and white. This is just pleasure. Negative utilitarianism, prioritize the avoidance of suffering because suffering is greater than pleasure. The maximum amount of suffering always outweighs the maximum amount of pleasure. Burning alive is much more intense in terms of pain than experiencing the most strongest euphoric type of drug.
If you don't understand this, you are basically a child. So second thing before I finish the video is that euthanasia. So to be really honest, people are very defensive when it comes to this concept, right? So let's just see the thing, the difference between sterilization and euthanasia. So if you sterilize one animal right now, right, the animal is going to suffer for the rest of its life, and it's going to die a slow natural death, right?
Mhm.
So euthanasia, on the other hand, ends the suffering right now. So I don't know why you are defensive. I guess that in the society we have.
No, 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 no. Why are we defensive? Because people and creatures are so clingy to life. It's biologically, your biology and the way we have evolved doesn't let us just embrace death. Okay? We are talking about not bringing new people to existence who wouldn't suffer this clinginess to life, okay, and sparing themselves the suffering that will come, okay. We are driven to cling to life. We are driven to save ourselves and to survive. Okay, you can't just uh, kill people in their sleep because they didn't give you consent, because they are clinging to life. They have a will to life. We cannot do that. If we have started just killing people for this principle, the world would be such a horrible place to live in. Because everybody, even antinatalists, me for example, I perceive that life contains pain more than pleasure. Okay? But I wouldn't be ready to suicide. Because, first of all, it's a horrible experience to suicide that I take that you don't reach that phase of taking suicide into account until you reach some very deep levels of depression. And since I'm already alive, life dictates that I must be optimist in order to survive, because my body just wants to survive, to reproduce and share its DNA. This is not analogous with the very principle of antinatalism, because antinatalism talks about people who are not here, who are still not here. But if you are already in existence, the asymmetry does not hold, because you are already in existence and you are experiencing life and you have this very instinctive strong drive to sustain your life. It's not the same with a child, not a child, with a person that still never started to exist. It's not the same.
Painted this death as something that is really bad, so we are afraid of these words like euthanasia and stuff, and we get defensive. But there is really like no valid reason to be defensive. So the thing is always
Euthanasia is regarded when the pain of staying is not worth it. The pain of staying is very intense, okay? It's not staying. The pain of staying, uh, in this case, would outweigh the pain of just going off, okay? Because you perceive that if you stay in existence, you would only suffer more. So you want that pain to cease.
life is not so black and white. Remember that sometimes we have to accept and cause some suffering.
That's negative utilitarianism, and utilitarianism is basically uh, takes pleasure and pain into account, black and white.
In order to solve greater suffering, right? It's basically trolley problem. And I hope you leave all your emotions, you think logically what is best to fight against suffering, what is best for all sentient beings who are suffering like you.
I think that was it. Well, antinatalism, for instance, oh God, that's 14 minutes. But anyway, I think the guy mostly agrees with antinatalism as a matter of principle. He just perceives that there is flaws in it. But uh, the problem he has is that he is committed the nirvana fallacy, and he he might be ignorant about the state of unexistence, because he is making such comparisons. He is comparing beings that are already in existence and comparing them with beings that are yet to exist, that never started to exist, it cannot be the case. So I think that's it. Thanks again for watching, and see you in the next one.